Hi students, welcome back to my channel Evolve Solving Physics. Today we are going to discuss some special cases on parallelogram law. We have discussed in previous class that what is parallelogram law and how we can calculate the magnitude of resultant and direction of resultant. So we got magnitude of resultant as r equals to under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, and angle made between resultant and first vector, that is tan alpha equals to q sin theta by p plus q cos theta. So alpha can be written as tan inverse of q sin theta by p plus q cos theta. Here alpha is the angle happened between r bar and p bar. Here beta is the angle happened between r bar and second vector, that is q bar. What we got here, tan beta equals to p sin theta by q plus p cos theta. Just tan alpha value, just q replace with p replace with q, you will get tan beta. So beta equals to tan inverse of p sin theta by q plus p cos theta. This is the magnitude of resultant and angles happened, that is direction for the resultant. So now we are going to discuss some special cases based on this formulae. What are that means? So if magnitude of P is greater than Q, here we are saying that magnitude of P is greater than Q, then alpha will be less than beta. So as magnitude of P is greater than Q means the alpha angle will becomes smaller than the beta. Then the resultant is closer to the vector of larger magnitude. So just remember that the resultant of vector will be closer to the vector which has larger magnitude. If P has larger magnitude, the resultant vector will be closer to the P vector. For suppose if Q vector has greater magnitude, then the resultant will be closer to the Q vector. So which vector has larger magnitude, then the resultant vector will be closer to that vector only. It does not depends on angle. It depends only on the magnitude of vectors which having larger magnitude. For suppose if angle between two vectors has increased, angle between two vectors is p bar and q bar is the two vectors. The angle happened between them is, what is the angle happened between them? Theta. As you all know that this is p bar, this is q bar, this is O, and this will be the resultant in parallelogram law. If angle between these two vectors has been increased, the magnitude of resultant will be decreased. So the angle between two vectors has been increased, then the magnitude of the resultant will be decreased. So with the help of this formula we can calculate that as we increase the theta value here, the r value will be decreases. So based on this concept we discuss some problems in later class. So if two vectors are in same direction, you can see here as p bar is moving in forward direction, that is x axis, and q bar also moving in forward direction along x axis, means p bar and q bar are two vectors moving in same direction. P bar and q bar are two vectors moving in same direction, that is along straight direction along x axis. So what will be the angle happened along x axis means moving in same direction means what we will take theta as, what will be the angle between two vectors? Theta will be 0 degrees. Why we will take the 0 degrees means if two vectors are moving in same direction means the angle will becomes 0 degrees. For suppose if two vectors are moving opposite to each other, then the angle will becomes 180 degrees. So as theta equals to 0 degrees. So then we can find the resultant r equals to under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Substitute theta value here. So what will be theta? Plus 2pq cos 0. What is the cos 0 value? Cos 0 value is 1. So substitute here p square plus q square plus 2pq into 1. So you can see here, so these can be written as a plus b whole square. P square plus q square plus 2pq will becomes p plus q whole square. So square root will be cancelled and the resultant will be p plus q. So the magnitude of resultant is equal to sum of magnitudes of two vectors. This can be written as magnitude of r bar is equal to magnitude of p bar plus magnitude of q bar. So this is the magnitude of resultant. So magnitude of r bar will be, it's a scalar, so r equals to p plus q. So the magnitude of resultant is equal to sum of magnitudes of two vectors. Magnitude of resultant. Now we are going to find the direction of resultant. Direction of resultant can be found with the help of tan alpha. Why I am taking tan alpha? This is along x direction. Q sin theta by p plus q cos theta. So sin theta is sin 0 will be 0 and cos 0 will be 1. So q into sin 0 is 0 by p plus q into 1. So what will get 0 by p plus q? So tan alpha equals to 0. So in tan, when you will get 0, tan 0 itself, tan 0 degrees, tan will be cancelled. So alpha equals to 0 degrees. So the angle for the resultant, the direction for the resultant will be same direction along p bar and q bar. As p bar and q bar are moving in same direction with angle of 0 degrees. Here we got the angle of resultant as 0 degrees. Means the resultant vector also moving along the direction of p bar and q bar. You can see here. So p bar is moving forward and q bar is moving forward. Resultant of vector is moving along the same direction of p bar and q bar. So we got theta as 0 degrees and alpha as 0 degrees, means the resultant is also moving along the same direction of p bar and q bar. Means if two vectors are moving in same direction, means the magnitude of resultant will be equal to the sum of magnitudes of two vectors, and the direction of the resultant vector will be along the same direction of p bar and q bar. Now we are going to discuss when two vectors are moving in opposite direction to each other. When two vectors are moving in same direction, means we can say that two vectors are moving parallel to each other. So this can be said as parallel. So as two vectors are moving in same direction, means we can say that the two vectors may be moving in parallel direction. So if suppose p bar is moving like this and q bar is moving like this, means these two are parallel to each other. So in such a case the theta will become 0 degrees. So if two vectors are acting in opposite direction, means anti-parallel. For suppose if p bar is moving in forward direction and q bar is moving in opposite direction, they are anti-parallel to each other. So they are not parallel to each other. There will be the two vectors will be anti-parallel to each other. Two vectors are moving in same direction, means that are parallel, and if two vectors moving in opposite direction means to each other, means that will be anti-parallel to each other. So the directions are opposite to each other. Will be the angle happen between two vectors, means theta equals to 180 degrees. I already said that as they are moving in same direction, means theta will be 0 degrees. As they are moving in opposite direction to each other, means theta will becomes 180 degrees. So now we are going to find the resultant and direction of we are going to find the magnitude and direction of resultant. So r equals to under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. So what will be the cos theta? That is cos 180 degrees, that will be minus 1, and sin 180 will be 0. Under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, cos 180. So under root p square plus q square 2pq cos 180 is minus 1. So this can be written as p square plus q square minus 2pq. So what will be the formula here? P square plus q square minus 2pq is under root p minus q whole square. So square root will be cancelled. So r equals to p minus q. So the magnitude of resultant will be equal to the difference of magnitudes of two vectors. So the magnitude of resultant will be equal to the difference of magnitudes of two vectors. Now we are going to find the direction of resultant. So tan alpha is equal to q sin theta by p plus q cos theta. Why I am taking tan alpha? Because as moving in positive x-axis, it is moving in negative x-axis, but it is moving along x direction only. So tan alpha. So q sin 180 by p plus q cos 180. So q 0 by p plus q minus 1. So q 0 by p minus q. So 0. So when we will get alpha as 0, tan 0. Tan will cancel, alpha equals to 0 degrees. In tan we will get 0 as 180 also. So tan alpha can be also be written as tan 180. So tan alpha equals to 0. When we will get 0 in tan means 0 degrees, 180 degrees, 360 degrees. In that cases we will get tan as 0. Tan 180 is 0, tan 0 is 0. So tan will be cancelled, alpha equals to 180 degrees. Why I am taking it as 180 degrees as alpha? Because as theta is taken as 180 degrees. So alpha may be 0 degrees or 180 degrees. So alpha equals to 0 or 180 degrees. In which direction that the resultant will be traveled means, in such a case 0 or 180 degrees, the resultant move in a direction of larger magnitude. Equals to 0 or 180 degrees. Why I am not taking 0 degrees? Why I am also taking 180 degrees means, as we are taking theta as 180 here, so I am considering it as alpha equals to 0 or 180 degrees. In this case, as moving in same direction case, as theta is 0, so I consider it as alpha is 0 here. But in such a case, theta equals to 180 degrees, we have to consider alpha as 0 or 180 degrees. In such a situation, the direction of resultant will be in the direction of vector having larger magnitude. Which vector having larger magnitude means, the resultant vector will be moves in a direction of larger magnitude. So if two vectors are moving in opposite direction to each other, the theta will be becomes 180 degrees. The magnitude of resultant will be equal to the difference of magnitudes of two vectors, and the direction of resultant will be in the direction of vector having larger magnitude. If two vectors are perpendicular to each other means this will be the perpendicular to each other. This is p bar and this is q bar. So if two vectors are perpendicular to each other, so this is perpendicular to each other, two vectors, what will be the resultant? We have to calculate here, and the angle happen between them is theta equals to 90 degrees. Why I am taking 90 degrees means, as they are perpendicular to each other means the angle happen between them will be 90 degrees. So theta equals to 90, sin 90 is equal to 1, cos 90 equals to 0. So r equals to under root p square plus q square plus 2pq cos 90. So p square plus q square plus 2pq into 0. So under root p square plus q square plus 2pq into 0 is 0. So under root p square plus q square, r equals to. So direction is tan alpha equals to q sin 90 by p plus q cos 90. Q into 1 by p plus q into 0. So q by p plus 0. So tan alpha equals to q by p. Alpha equals to tan inverse of q by p. This is magnitude of resultant and direction of resultant. So these are some special cases based on parallelogram law. There are some more special cases based on this parallelogram law that we will discuss in next class. So if you have any doubts in this topic, please comment me in comment box. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.